Welcome to the Institute. Every one of those constructs you've been beating on was conceived in these halls.
Imagine standing among those weavers of the Enclave's prime, fearlessly pushing the boundaries of enchanting.
Well, they broke everything too. Literally everything. So, they weren't that fantastic. This passage must be the Enchanter's way.
Dissolution chamber. The machinery in here looks complex, perhaps some part of the tapestry.
First hive's up ahead.
Do we have any useful notes on the hives from the previous axle?
Don't bother trying to deal with them. Too scary.
I'm beginning to get an inkling of why they replaced him.
Oh, that was brutal. Wish I could be out there with you.
I get the feeling the Eye would love to send you out among the surgeons with Brynn.
What do you think, Eric?
I'd go in a heartbeat, but I've got dozens of scouts to coordinate. Don't wish that job on anyone else.
Marked only as Expansion Cavern 36 on the map. Wonder what they were building.
I spoke to Khan Arteme about it, but unfortunately, anyone overseeing the plans for this was killed in the surge. Nice work, Brynn. Aaron, think that'll give the scouts some breathing room?
Absolutely. Khan Arteme will be thrilled. I'll meet you at Cassidy's hold so we can deliver the good news.
imagine there are many pools like this deeper into the underworks.
Remember, Brynn, the spindle needs you to harvest a resonance from one of these massive arcs.
An Ark of the Wintertide. They use sheets of ice as armor. Just be aware they will reform it.
Circuit of music. Oh, how delightfully pretentious.
dispel her nerves?
Only one way to find out.
How are you settling in, Eric? Things going well?
Good. Yeah, they're fine.
Just good?
No, not really. Something's going on at the hold, and it's making the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. The Eye publicly scorched you for opening up Asylum, and yet I've heard him telling the Spindle that this could be a good thing. Meanwhile, the runners are stretched paper thin, keeping supplies moving. Which, of course...
Sounds like you could use some help.
Really? No, wait, I know. The Spitfires. A particularly aggressive group seems set on spreading through Denver. In particular, they're building nests in some areas I was hoping to use as training grounds. But we had to pull out due to the risk.
Would the areas be safe if I took care of the nests?
Yes, though the nests are very durable. They will turn brittle if you get them cold enough.
Consider it done. Anything else?
Maybe an odd request.
Why not ask her yourself?
I feel like I have a lot to learn from Aurea and how she works with you. And it's strangely intimidating to admit that to her directly.
She is a force of nature. I get it. I'll ask.
Brynn, I'm glad you're here. I need to talk to you.
What's going on? You look pretty tired.
Yeah, I'm fine. It's just about those 90 Drake scales. I know Aurea said we don't need them, but she just doesn't understand. It's dangerous, especially now that these Surgeborn are loose. We need to be prepared for anything. It's just gnawing in the back of my head. Do you think you could do it?
Kaz, you need to tell me what's really going on here. I want to help, but the Drake scales? The Weaver Band is more than okay. We're in the best shape we've been in since we entered the Enclave, now that we've made contact with the Heartsiders. Besides, the caravan is looking pretty full. It's not making sense.
You think I'm insane?
No, of course not.
Era's breath. I shouldn't, but you just don't understand. Everyone could die if I don't... It would be my fault.
Whatever this is, please just tell me what's going on.
No. I shouldn't have burdened you. Sorry, just go.
But Kaz...
I can't talk about this anymore.
Kazmin is not okay. And I don't think bringing her more stuff is the answer. I'd better talk to Aurea. Hey, Aurea. About Kazmin.
I know. I'm worried too. So is the rest of the band. Let's talk at the archive, privately. I'll join you and Lane in a moment.
All right. Hi, Aurea. I am here on behalf of Arakim.
That's weirdly formal. Everything all right?
He finds you intimidating. Personally, I don't see it, but I thought I'd be extra polite for his sake.
He does. Good. What does he want?
He's wondering if he could power the scry while I run an errand for him. He's hoping you'll give him tips.
Happily. But feel free to tell him I was a bit scary, to keep him on his toes.
Hey, you all right?
Yes. There's something I should have told you, so I'll just come out and say it. I was born in the Enclave.
How is that possible?
Oh, luck or tragedy, depending on your perspective. Before I was born, my mother and father lived here happily for several years. But they decided it would be better if my mother raised me with my grandmother and great aunts for the first few months of my life. So she left with me when I was just a hatchling, with every intention to return.
But the surge happened.
The life I should have had was lost for good. Because of all this, I never knew my father. I don't even know his name.
Does your family have something to do with your attachment to the Enclave?
Being here has meant a lot in some ways. And in others, it's very different from what I expected. Meeting the Hearthsiders was a lifelong dream. But the circumstances of our encounter? Not what I'd envisioned.
Knowing now that this is your birthplace, I can see why that would be disheartening.
This was meant to be my home, after all.
Isn't it a little strange your mother never told you his name?
She was separated from him so suddenly. She had no chance to say goodbye. My mother is a strong woman, but whenever I asked about him as a child, she could only manage a few words before her face would crumble. She found it too painful to discuss, and I never wanted to pry.
But now?
I can't help but wish I knew who he was.
Is it common for Oberon hatchlings to be raised apart from their fathers?
No, but it is common for extended family to be involved in the raising of children. As you know, I come from a long line of weavers, many of whom traveled in caravans their entire lives. It was apparently quite a shock when my mother fell for a Hearthsider.
So your parents were looking for a compromise when it came to raising you?
Exactly. And I wouldn't trade my childhood on the road. My great-aunts and my grandmother made me who I am, after all.
Still, you missed out on your father. It's natural to wonder about him.
I suppose.
This is definitely a twist. I feel like you could have told me sooner.
I am sorry for that. You need to be able to trust me.
So why hide it?
Talking about difficult and private matters is not my strong suit. And frankly, I rarely see the point in dwelling on the past.
I guess you and your mother have that in common.
Huh. You might be right.
So, we're going to find out who your father was.
You would help me?
Of course. Maybe Lane would have some ideas on where to start.
Actually, I had an idea myself. The spindle mentioned a statue of my mother. It's clear the Enclave commemorated their champions. I can't shake this feeling my father is among them.
You think there's a statue of your father?
I know it sounds strange, but the handful of times that my mother spoke of him, she described him as this great hero. Since she was one herself, is it so crazy to think she might have meant that literally?
Maybe not. I can scope out the statues in Upper Denevron for a resemblance, if that's what you want.
Good. And thank you. It's safe to say Casmin hasn't been acting like herself. She's always been tightly wound, but this is something else.
Brynn, she seems more open with you than most. Can you describe in detail what's abnormal about her behavior?
She's begging me for more supplies, even though the caravan is chock full.
Not that we could tell, because she's covered it up.
More than that, she just seems distressed. She's always talking about worst-case scenarios, and lately it's like she's convinced we're all going to die.
I have heard rumors of abnormal behavior developing in Kashar that could be linked to this.
What kind of rumors?
In polytheistic beliefs that are pervasive in the southern part of the Maida, there is an affliction known as Ira's Plague. The sufferer is haunted by twisted visions of death and pain. The goddess of justice, Ira, won't allow the sufferer inner peace until they repent through scrupulosity.
All right. Casmin is suffering. We need to do something about it.
And preemptively? No exorcisms?
Hardly. This is likely nothing more than a condition that has been stigmatized by religion. A scientific explanation must exist, and thankfully, we are in the heart of progressive thinking.
You think the Enclave could have done research on this?
Makes sense. Where should I start looking?
The steps in the upper city is where I'd start. Between the main building of the spire and the atrium used to stand a school for alchemists. From your explorations, the surge hit that area pretty hard, but some of the building may still be standing.
Great. What am I looking for?
Maybe the name of someone who suffered like Casmin, or a healer who treated the condition. If you find someone like that, you'll want to search the areas of the city where they spent time. Ira's plague is wildly misunderstood across the Maida. If we could find a treatment, it could help more than Casmin.
You're right. I'll start with the steps, then expand my search. Good news. It was tough going, but I managed to convince Madame Silverbeak to take you under her wing.
Madame Silverbeak. Wins. I'll wear my good socks. I've coordinated lots of operations from Cassidon's Hold, but I never had much formal training. More self-taught. A chance to learn from someone with decades of experience is an incredible opportunity. I'll be there with you then, when you get close to the nests. They're in the Bastion's yard and Envoy's Landing in Upper Denevron.
Don't forget to block. Arya thinks her father could have a statue in the Enclave just like her mother. So, I'm looking for a male Oberon that fits our timeline. As impressive as Arya's lineage may be, we're 200 years off the timeline. Not much of this building left. Looks like it's my lucky day. This tome is titled Disordered Thinking and Mental Anguish. Looks thick. An insert says, a herbalist in the market found success treating a variety of patients suffering from these types of afflictions. Better search the market next.
The cold sunk right into the stones here. This is why we use wattle and daub back home. Insulates properly.
A ledger belonging to the herbalist that owned this stand. There There are notes on all kinds of afflictions, both physical and mental, that were treated here. Looks like they asked one patient with symptoms similar to Casmin to keep a diary during treatment. All his anxieties and intrusive visions. I wonder if Casmin could relate to him. It's hard to think about her experiencing all this alone. He mentions that he also sought help at the Hallow Pyre Rise. I should check the temple for more information. afflictions. I wonder if it might document something similar to Era's plague. If Casmin really believes she's been cursed or afflicted, no wonder she's trying to keep it to herself.
Exactly as I theorized. Era's plague is little more than a stigmatized condition with a perfectly rational explanation.
Which is...
A perfect storm of family traits and lifestyle choices, exaggerated by circumstance. Diet, athletics, and sleep all factor in.
Casmin hasn't been sleeping much.
Might be worth presenting this research to her to see if the rest resonates.
Good idea.
Oria and I will join you when you're ready.
Casmin, we need to talk.
Could it wait? I'm in the middle of touch counting the armory.
No, it can't.
We've been worried about you.
I'm fine. Seriously, don't worry about me.
No one has seen you sleep in days. You're clearly hiding 2 bands worth of supplies behind the caravan shutters. And half the time you're talking a league a minute about catastrophes that are never going to happen. We can't let you keep going like this.
No. Maybe I've been a little off lately, but I'm fine, seriously. I'm just trying to keep our Weaver band prepared in case... I just want us all to be safe.
We are safe.
Kaz, I've been doing research on a condition you might know as Era's plague.
I'm not possessed.
We know.
The Enclave studies on Era's plague concluded that it's not a religious affliction, but a disorder of the mind. The sufferer experiences a cycle of relentless, disturbing thoughts and all manner of compulsions to fix them, including hoarding. Though it may be passed on through families, this condition is often exacerbated by a lack of sleep.
Brynn found a diary belonging to a Cassil man in Denevron who suffered from this. I think you should read it. He describes the intrusive visions that began after the birth of his son. Horrible fears he would drop his baby that he was so ashamed of, he couldn't share them with anyone.
That's awful.
It reached a point where he couldn't hold his own child, until he sought help.
So, you're saying... if I have Era's plague, there's a cure?
We found evidence of a treatment, yes. We'd need to talk to someone at Cassidin's Hold to know more.
But we didn't want to speak to someone outside the Weaver Band on your behalf without talking to you first.
I don't know.
None of this is your fault. It's okay to get help. We all need it from time to time.
But no one else seems to need help. Everyone else is handling being here just fine, and I'm the only one having a breakdown.
Hey! It could be any one of us tomorrow. And I know for a fact that if this were happening to anyone else, you'd cut them some slack.
She's right. It's hard for all of us to see you suffering like this. We care about you, and we just want you to be okay.
Fine. You can talk to the Weavers in Cassidin's Hold. I can't promise. I'm still not sure about all of this.
We'll go one step at a time. A resonance. Freshly pulled from an arc's pattern, as requested.
By the flames! You can't be serious! This is incredible! You know, great archons weren't built with patterns. They formed. This will propel my research faster than...
What is this about?
Nothing.
Is that so? Then why is this rogue point harvesting archons for you?
This is just healthy collaboration between our people. What's wrong with that?
What's wrong is that you're pursuing a project that I have given my daughter expressed orders not to pursue.
Daughter?
The reason you didn't want me studying active arcs was because it was too dangerous to harvest one. But Brynn offered to do it for me. None of our people were put at risk.
The reason I didn't want you researching arcs is because I ordered you not to. Not as your father, but as the leader of the Enclave. This insolence and disrespect will not be tolerated. You will drop this obsession at once, Isla. For good.
Hey, are you...
I can't be seen speaking to you about this subject anymore. I'm sorry.
But...
I need to get back to work. Goodbye.
Isla, I was wondering if you might be able to help my friend.
Oh, what seems to be the problem?
I was wondering if you've heard of an affliction known as Era's Plague.
A damaging misnomer, but yes.
It certainly seems like the Enclave had a better understanding of it than the rest of the Maida does. I believe our quartermaster is suffering from it. She's a Kashar like you.
Ah, yes. The condition isn't unique to Kashar, but it's believed we experience it in greater severity due to our unique sleep cycles. I've heard of Ram, Obrun, Ashar, and Kassil alike who've experienced it. The first line of treatment is sleep. Unfortunately, that's difficult for Kashar. Thankfully, a sleeping balm should go a long way to help her. But it's not enough on its own.
How do I get hold of a sleeping balm?
Well, I can make one for you here if you bring me the ingredients. In addition to this, you'll need oil membrane for the formula. And of course, red cotton, because it filters the light so that the eyes find deeper rest.
I'll bring you those right away.
If you're interrupting my petition reading time, I hope you're bringing me some good news.
Nothing but. The way's clear for the scouts to start retrieving those supplies.
Anything to add, Arakim?
I'm shaken to my core by the revelation that one can achieve things without forms signed in triplicate.
Interesting. I won't argue with success. Brynn, since you've proven yourself useful, I've considered the ways in which you can assist us further. We'll need Isla's help for this next step, though.
Oh, we're all on a first-name basis with her, are we?
I should hope so, yes.
I was trying to help her, but it didn't go as planned. She's not really speaking to me right now.
That doesn't sound like Isla. But regardless, we will need her on side for this project. Just give her a little time. She might come around.
We'll see.
Until she does, there isn't much we can do with my plans.
getting close now. Watch for the flames. You'll need to freeze the hives. They're spongy and resistant to damage unless you can make them brittle.
That's more like it. Work with the scry.
soldiers could see for leagues from Vigilant Falls, the patrollers would easily spot incoming attacks.
Isn't that the same oblong statue you found in the atrium?
Maybe if I burn the vines, I'll be able to see who it is. Matteo Agretius, known for his acts of bravery following the surge. Could this be your father, Aurea?
Perhaps. Arakim might know how to confirm.
should be the last of them. Appreciate the chance to test run your scry.
Brynn. Hi, Zola. Everything okay?
Oh, yes. Welcome back. It's good to see you safe. Could we talk when you have a moment?
Of course. You wanted to talk?
Mm-hmm. Can you walk with me?
Why all the mystery, Milady Smith?
In a word, I'm worried.
About...
Sev, he's been acting strangely. Has been since we met the Hearthsiders at the Hold. He's going there a lot in off hours, and he honestly looks a little exhausted. Dom, of course, stays up later than us and says he's often slipping away.
Have you asked Sev what's wrong?
I have, and he waves it off every time.
Right. What do we do about it?
Sev has completely cut me off. But you know how I tease Lane for watching us all the time? Maybe that will pay off here. I hate this cloak and dagger stuff.
You do? You seem pretty good at it.
Talk to Lane for me. I'm sure they've seen what Sev is doing, but maybe they also have a guess at why he's acting so odd. Okay, let's go back before anyone gets nosy. And if Sev asks, Blood Moon cycle. Not sure if Ram blush, but he sure does.
Got it. Arik, about those statues in Upper Denevron.
You mean the Friends of the Eye?
No, I was talking about the champions.
Ha! Some of them, maybe. But you could be the most heroic weaver in the world, and unless you're cozying up to leadership, there's no statue being built in your honor.
Huh.
Anyway, what do you want with them?
Well, we're wondering if there could be a familial connection between someone in our band and one of the figures represented on the statues.
You could dive through the archives we've preserved in Caston's Hold on all our heroes. That's the slow, boring way.
Don't let Lane hear you say that.
Or you can compare mantles to see if their patterns are a match.
You can tell two people are related through their mantles.
The spindle could tell you more about the science behind it. But from what I understand, there are similarities across bloodlines in how a weaver's cloth pulls magic from the air. A pattern tracer allows us to analyze those similarities between two weavers' patterns. I'll give you a design for it. Once it's built, take it to the Axle, and she'll trace the mantles for you. We've preserved mantles belonging to all our heroes in Caston's Hold.
Thanks, Arik. Aurea will be pleased.
Aurea? For what it's worth, she's twice the weaver any of those statues might claim to be.